gone to the bench with 2 fouls. What a pass from Carlik Jones, but Johnson can't finish.
And it was a fantastic cut by Johnson, and Withers was right there to tap it in. But right now, Louisville cannot get anything to go offensively. They've had opportunities, but they've missed some layups and some close ones.
Mark Williams has gone to the bench for Duke. Henry Coleman III is in for the Blue Devils, the freshman from Richmond, Virginia. And there's a great example of her keeping that run. Cardinals.
There's a lot of contact on that drive.
And when you need a bucket.
Him opening up opportunities for his teammates.
James Carnick going in strong. He's 6'9", the senior. Lehigh transfer, and very capable of having a pretty good game. He had 20 against Syracuse.
And as Allison mentioned, get back on the bus. Well, that starts with just this one game. They'll worry about tomorrow if they're able to be that fortunate to make it. But right now, you can see everyone in the white uniform locked in and trying to come away with the win here this afternoon.
Firing back into the game, so he'll be back out on the court, and he'll be there with his brother, DeMar Langford Jr. Now, this is actually the first time the two have really played on an organized basketball team together. They're just a few
into champ week.
Baylor's 4 games in since their long pause, and the last 2 games they have looked like Baylor again. Their game against Oklahoma State played very well.
Williams is fouled on the dunk attempt.
Fence to the left and throwing back. So you either had the shot or you had a high-low opportunity.
Very balanced scoring so far for Carolina. Goldwire with a nice look. Extra pass Moore. And the 3 will go down for Matthew.
Native of the state of North Carolina, who readily admits that this game carries a little more weight for him. He also was pretty vocal in saying that Georgia Tech believes it's better than Duke, and they'll try to avenge the earlier loss against the Blue Devils in Durham.
Well, there's a lot of guys out.
You'll see some 1-3-1 early, right?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of mix-ups in terms of the defense, and a lot of this is to be disruptive. That's just going to be too easy. But you mentioned
Jackets within 1.
Even in that possession, Roach just got mixed up with the communication, whether it was a switch or not a switch. Later on the closeout, leads to an open shot.
This year's second half has been a strong one for Georgia Tech. They shot 51% in the second half of ACC games this year, 57% in games in which they won. Not gaining advantage. We did have a little issue with Matthew Hurtsmith. What in the world? That was ungood, to put the technical term on it. The 3 ball from the corner.
At mark of the second half. Hurtsmith made a switch, decided to put David Johnson on him. Hurt then went 12 minutes without scoring, only scored 4 points the rest of the game.
Well, and that's been the case for quite a while now. He's having a tremendous year, but the rest of the team has not been able to catch up, and the Cardinals have benefited.
And it's sad to see. I mean, obviously, he hadn't played in a year. He's dying to get back. You feel bad for the kid.
Saw the ice on that foot. Broken bone in that right foot. He had hoped it healed. So Duke down 42-35. Looking for the guards to really get active here. Shot clock down to 6. Here's Stewart. And yes. And the major, he has 25 points. The rest of the team is 25. And he just came up with a great defensive play with a block. So the Blue Devils looking to tie or take the lead. Hurt wants the shot. Long one coming. He's got it.
Carrier, not only part of that 3-way tie for the team lead in scoring, but at 9.4 rebounds per game. He's second in the Big East behind Justin Champagnie of Pitt. DJ Stewart wide open.
It's unnecessary. I don't think. You certainly don't hear that from when a colleague of theirs is fired. They don't say, "Oh well, the team's better off without that coach." It's unnecessary. I felt it was wrong, and I said so.
Robert Braswell into the game with the Syracuse bucket. 13-8 lead for Duke. Nearly 5 minutes gone by. No fans here tonight, but Duke blasts that crowd noise as much as anybody. Matthew
Richmond is such a good defender, Sean. He leads the nation in steals rate, which is the amount of steals he gets per minute played. Leads this Syracuse team in steals. He's long-armed, and he's got a great anticipation for where the ball's going.
DJ Stewart, defensive end.
Boy, Gerard has been feast or famine. Had his last 4 games, he's had 19, then 6, then 16, then 5.
Jim Boeheim was talking because they don't have a consistent scoring presence inside. There's
Henry State and Wake as we are ready now for the tip of our Sonic blockbuster, and it'll be the Blue Devils with the first possession of the night. And what a great matchup at the point. A talented freshman in Jeremy Roach, and then a terrific player, junior Kihei Clark, part of the national championship game, a team a couple of years ago, and having a very good season for the Hoos. Matthew Hurt for 3, and speaking of matchups, as Hurt gets
Duke having to switch some screens and exchanges, and Mark Williams, about 7 feet, got onto Kihei Clark and kept his feet on the floor to make Clark finish over him. Then Jay Huff had to take a tough 2.
Roach looking inside for Williams, who's really been a factor for Duke the last couple of weeks, especially at the defensive end of the floor. Roach for 3, got it, and a good.
And his hands are ready, his feet are ready. He's just a fantastic shooter. But to your question on Jalen Johnson, yes, those are legitimate questions as to why he decided to forgo the remainder
from Rice. How do you think Duke has adjusted and continues to adjust going forward without Jalen Johnson?
Well, they haven't had much time to adjust, but 4 games ago, Mark Williams was inserted into the lineup, and for
advantage of it there.
Well, Reese Beekman, we've talked about him in steals. He gets a ton of steals for Virginia. He leads the team in steals. But Trey, and there's Durham. And Murphy's an NBA player. He is so good.
You and I were talking before. Could Huff be an NBA player? Could Hauser be an NBA player? It's fun. We should have mentioned too that Virginia is shorthanded. Thomas Woldetensai is not here with the team due to contact tracing, and he's a very good shooter off the bench. They've also got a couple of players who are back from illness. They're available, but they
build that NCAA tournament resume. You'll take a look at the ACC standings. So many teams feel that way. You got Syracuse, Georgia Tech, Duke, Notre Dame. It doesn't even fit on one page. How many teams are bunched up in the middle of the conference that feel like they really need to step on the gas? Now's the time to make a move.
Yeah, and obviously, there's been some postponements. So obviously, getting games in also is going to be a key factor. Mark Williams, he has been the one guy I think that has been really impressive to see his progression from the first time he set foot on the court to now.
Matthew. Well, just about 10 minutes ago, Matthew Hurt was not in the lineup, but instead he is in that starting lineup, and so he remains the only Blue Devil to be in the starting 5 for now all 16 games this season.
And it's been a revolving door for the Blue Devils as Coach K has continued to try to find the right mix for his team as mending on this season to lead this group, especially defensively in the backcourt. And they've done it here in this game thus far.
I'm sure Coach K is much happier with the defense so far. Again, they've given.
Holmgren puts it in the bucket, and the Irish regained a little footing, cut the lead to 10.
It's always interesting. You go to the bench. You got 4 new players on the floor for Duke. The starting lineup was terrific. You wanted
Carolina's dad is a sports writer at the Charlotte Observer. Hoping to
wonder if he ever trashed his own son.
No sports writers wouldn't do such a thing. Jordan Gold. 7 straight wins for Duke, extending it to 8. Be paramount for the Blue Devils. Fading in very slim hopes of making the NCAA tournament. This one could be a backbreak.
DJ Stewart got half a step on Walton, can't get it to go. Tipped back out by Williams. Wide open Stewart for 3, and Duke is on the board.
They were looking to get a lob, and Duke trying to take the lob away, and Leaky Black just able to, beautiful backdoor cut against the pressure.
It was still a season, a year and change before Roger Maris would break the record. I mean, 1960 is so long ago, neither one of us was born yet. First televised Olympics in North America. I mean, it really is remarkable. 153 consecutive. Wendell, go down to that guy. Brooks has had a good game, but misses here.
Yeah, you think that Garrison Brooks would want to power that ball more toward the bucket rather than settle for a turnaround jumper fading away.
All of his 10 coming early. Good catch in traffic by Wendell Moore.
But just a tough pass to be able to make.
And Jalen Johnson not.
Isaiah Wong. He's added muscle from his freshman year to this year, and that was on display there. Nice
round instead of attacking. And now Duke's able to put some full court pressure on, and so the tempo is completely different than it was 3 minutes ago.
And Hurt puts Duke back on. Now made 12 of his last 13. Miami by 5, inching closer to what would be a huge upset, having lost 4 in a row, all by double digits. Jalen Johnson inside his
numbers, 1 for 7 from the field and 2 turnovers as Alamir Doss is unable to come away with the mid-range jumper. But it's been a struggle for Clemson offensively really since they've come back from that COVID pause. One good shooting game against Georgia Tech, but in that game they also had 18 turnovers that did them in. So right now Brad Brownell trying to find a way to get this team back operating the way they were offensively. The defense, I believe, has returned. However,
ACC in three-point shooting. Blue Devils have it now after the initial miss, and in the front court, here's Roach.
It's interesting to see Duke with his starting lineup go back to that man-to-man. Foul trouble's been the issue, particularly with guys like Matthew Hurt and Jalen Johnson who have to carry the load down low.
And Jalen Johnson, the half minutes of game time, Alvarado into double figures.
Well, that was a bad gamble by Goldwire. There's no reason to jump that hard to the pass. He gave up a back cut and an easy layup for a team that was struggling to score.
Moore a little too far under the basket. Now he'll spin and kick it out. Contest to keep Hurt from shooting it the first time. Right, driving on the freshman Williams, can't get it to go. Hurt gets the rebound and almost lost it out of bounds, but Duke controls it. Here's Goldwire.
Right through. It looked like Wendell Moore came over from the weak side, had a chance to block that. Really good concentration by Davis.
Davis, who averages 8.5 per game, scoreless on Monday against Florida State, but off to a good early start with 5 points already today. And the 3 for
the paint, kick it out, and Duke has to find a way to get to the free throw line. Only 4 free throw attempts in that first half.
Duke with the first possession of the second half. Jeremy Roach, the starting point guard for the Blue Devils, had a very quiet 15 minutes in the first half. They go right into Hurt.
And this year's team has not put itself in a position to get fouled quite as often. And they're at a deficit from the free throw line, scoring and attempts on the year, which is very unusual.
They've only been to the line 7 times today. Louisville's been 16 times. Another tie, this time at 59.
Charlie Jones very fortunate to pick up a foul guarding DJ Stewart.
Wow, tough turnaround for Hurt.
Yeah, when I need to be, like on the basketball court, but anymore, I'm just keeping it clean, Dan.
8-point lead, Pitt over Duke, in a game that Pitt has led almost the entire way. Jalen Johnson, a big second half, and a Dan Penny. And then a block at the other end. Johnson got a piece of it. And here he comes. And there he goes.
From the floor. And that was his third made 3. You see he's up to 19 points, right around his average. And then Moore took it away from Witt, leading to Goldwire at the rim.
Point shooter coming in on the year. He was shooting 43% from out there.
He's back home in Durham. Spent 4 years at Tennessee. And Roach has just been wide.
And get them into their offense and try to put them in a position to win the game.
Steph Mitchell has his pocket picked by Roach, dumps it off. Here's Wendell Moore Jr. Kick out, Hurt for the tie. He's got it.
You cannot run it any better. Beautiful pass by Stephon Mitchell. Felder for another dunk off a beautiful pass.
Inside to Hurt. Count it, plus the...
Well, every player you talk about, you say, he's a McDonald's All-American. There are not too many Wendy's All-Americans out there. They get McDonald's, baby, year in and year out.
Yeah, they're not fun size either. It's the full super.
Every possession on both sides of the ball for Bellarmine.
One possession game. Who would have thought? Hurt wants the ball to paint. Still can't get it to him. Brakefield has already made 3 3-pointers. Stewart. Extra pass more. Hurt. Oh, that helps. That helps. It's a long 2.
Michigan State 1 for 6 from the floor with 3 turnovers and 5 fouls, and now they're 1 out of 7 shooting. Johnson powers to the bucket and with great intensity, and when you do that, you're going to foul and turn it over from time to time.
Clayton. Moore out running. Goldwire ahead of the pack and lays it in.
Big possession here for the Blue Devils.
Moore to inbound. It'll be in the hands of Roach. Moore bothered by Anthony Tark. Gets a screen from Johnson. Stewart wide open for 3, and he hits it.
Big